Hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Joe Chaffee as we take a look at the long range, and everything continues as we have been talking about. It's just a very slow, grinding process. There's a Scandinavian block that's building across the top, and you can see how it basically takes over that entire northern portion of Siberia. Now, as we go on through time, here's our trough, nice trough that comes in for the weekend and into early next week that chills it down. We have a pretty reasonable flow. You see it here established out of Canada, and there's that big blocking high that's up to the north. So it's beginning to suppress some of the cold air back down into the United States. It's not super cold air, but it certainly inspires that temperatures will be getting back to near normal. Now that trough is going to pull out, and you can see another troughiness here coming down from Canada. Also a little activity here. This is the strong subtropical jet, and now the stronger parts of the trough that are coming into the west are further south. And this lends, by the way, to what happens during El Nino years, that the first part of the winter, the very early part, you have this flow into the Pacific Northwest, and then it's through January and February that usually the subtropical jet shifts far enough south that you start to get these weather systems to come in more into Southern California, where they haven't really had that much in the way of rain. So it looks like it's going to be their turn with weather system coming in one after another. And you can see how the flow is pretty split here. Strong ridge up in the Pacific Northwest, which is what you need to get cold air down. Notice pressures rising all through the Arctic regions, and as we move over through time, and this is where it starts to get a little more interesting. You can see how the vortex begins to strengthen here in the eastern states, and you have the flow from the Arctic straight southeastward down into the United States, into the cold air. This, by the way, is the ensemble view. This is a very cold look as we get toward the end of the 16-day period with the Arctic now. Instead of having, look at the big change that has occurred now. We've gone from having basically one gigantic, huge vortex in this region to high pressures, both coming from the Atlantic side and from the Pacific side. So definitely this is going to be something to keep an eye on. That as we move into the middle part of the month, whether we may wind up having a bit of a cross-polar flow that develops and some very cold air that comes down at some point. So again, this is something we're going to have to watch. I'm going to see if we can just jump over now. I'm going to jump to the GFS from last night. Actually, I'm sorry, this is the European ensemble view. Okay, so we're going to look at the European ensemble view. Now, this only goes out to 10 days, but this model is also sending strong signals. And as I pointed out, again, look at the difference between what's up here in the Arctic. I mean, this is just an amazing complex of nothing but low pressure here from Greenland all the way across the Arctic regions to the Aleutians. And this is basically the signature of the pattern that we've been in, which is the deep trough in the west. And there's the storm system that affected us last night. And you can watch the transition that occurs over the next 10 days as we go from that to this. And it happens very, very quickly. I'll just back it up again. Here we are on Tuesday. Now we're into Friday. And already by Friday of this week, the big ridge pops up in the west. And it continues to build and build. And you have the split flow that develops now. There's the wind flow from Canada as we go through the weekend. And then there it is, just pops right up all the way up. So the entire signature of the Arctic is going to be changing over the next 10 days to 2 weeks. So this is all critical to what we've been referring to as the pattern change. And now I want to just look the way up in the atmosphere, because we've been talking about the fact that we're looking to see if and when this upper vortex is going to stretch and split up, which would be critical to what happens longer term. Some runs have split it, some runs have not. I'm not so sure. We do see the warming. You see that big ridge that builds up over in the Aleutians, and then you get the stretching that goes on here. So it seems to me that we are seeing the the vortex, the polar vortex at the very top of the atmosphere in the stratosphere, wanting to stretch and wanting to split over time. And this will be crucial to what kind of a pattern we're going to have as we go deeper and deeper into the winter months. So the road to pattern change continues. We will have basically calm weather now going into New Year's, and we are going to see a gradual shift to colder weather as we go through the first weekend of January. There are some storm signals being given by the models for later next week, and when we have this sort of split flow like this with this subtropical jet coming in here and a ridge like this, all it takes is for something in the northern stream and something in the southern stream to kind of march along and get together here in the east, and we'll watch for that possibility maybe next week. Nothing imminent, but there are some signals on the models that there's a chance that something could happen along the east coast at some point.